America. Georgia Republican Senator David Perdue with us. Sarah, how you doing? And welcome back to our program. I want to share with our viewers a late-night tweet from last night from the president. The Republicans, he writes, are developing a really great health care plan with far lower premiums, cost, and deductibles than Obamacare. In other words, it'll be far less expensive and much more usable than Obamacare. Vote will be taken right after the election when Republicans hold the Senate and win back the House. It will be truly great health care that will work for America. That leaves you thinking we're not going to see your plan until after Election Day. Are we wrong?
Well, first of all, any solution to health care requires, in this environment of a split government, a bipartisan effort. And so far, we have not seen any willingness of the other side, particularly in the House, to even approach that. But let's be very clear today. What is called the Affordable Care Act is an unmitigated disaster. What the president is saying is that we need to have what the Republican solutions are. And let's be very clear about this. What's out there right now is untenable. In my state bill, 96 counties of 159 only have one carrier. In 2014, Obamacare fined 8 million people over $2 billion because they didn't sign up for Obamacare. And the average income of those 8 million people was $25,000 a year. This insurance package that's being offered to most people in my state is so expensive that they can't afford it. So even though they claim they're covering pre-existing conditions, if you can't buy insurance, you're not protected of anything. So we've got to fix this.
Senator, how specifically do you want to see your party proceed on this issue?
Well, I think it's time the Republicans put all the infighting away in our own caucus and tell America what we stand for. But let me be very clear on this as well, Senator. I think right now what we see is we've wasted the last decade talking about insurance. There are some things we need to fix in insurance, but the real thing that's killing us right now and what's driving insurance cost up is the driving cost of healthcare delivery itself. And so we've not really addressed that here. We spend $34 billion a year with our NIH and other researchers on some of the most costly diseases out there. We know that cancer and diabetes and Alzheimer's, particularly in late life, are really driving these healthcare costs. We need to get at those drivers of healthcare costs.
Let's get to topic number two, because this topic we're going to talk about for 2 years. I think you would probably agree with that. Now, the tweet from the president: Democrats should stop fighting Senator David Perdue's disaster relief bill. They're blocking funding and relief for our great farmers in rural America. So this has not yet passed. Yet on the floor of the Senate, I don't know if you were present for this. I'm going to play this for viewers. Senator Feinstein votes yes, and then we'll watch what happens in between here. Roll it.
Mrs. Feinstein, aye.
So you heard that, and then Senator Schumer and Senator Feinstein have words of some sort in between with each other. It looks heated, and then they come back for this response.
Mrs. Feinstein, no.
Can you explain that vote and change your
Not on your bet, no. What you just saw was the ultimate in political hypocrisy. Senator Feinstein voted no eventually to $6 billion of aid for her state for the victims of those wildfires out there. This is ultimate political hypocrisy, and this is the reason that most people out here in America are so furious with the Senate right now. Look, these farmers in the Southeast have been devastated. Not only that, you had $6 billion of benefits that need to go to wildfire victims, now the flood victims of the upper Midwest, as well as food subsidies for the people in Puerto Rico. President Trump, this is a compromise bill that was offered up, and President Trump supported this bill all along, negotiated it, and was totally willing to sign this into law. And that's the only reason we got it on the floor to have a vote.
What does it tell you, the fact that we have heard from so many Democrats and that they want to help Puerto Rico, but then to have this vote against this disaster relief?
Well, it's political hypocrisy. It's nothing but partisanship. If you were Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer, would you let this president have any victory on any issue right now? It's the same thing we saw on border security. Years past, the Democrats said, oh, yes, it's an emergency, it's a crisis. Even President Obama built 135 miles of wall, called it a crisis. But now that President Trump wants to do it, all the Democrats are saying, oh, no, it's terrible. Nancy Pelosi even called it immoral. The same hypocrisy is applying right here on this disaster relief. And let me put it in perspective for you. In 2013, behind Hurricane Sandy, the federal government appropriated $50 billion for the victims of Sandy, mostly in New Jersey. In 2017, $136 billion was appropriated for 3 different hurricanes and wildfires in California. And this package was only $13.5, and only $3 billion went to the farmers of the Southeast. This was a very compromised bill, and we felt like it should have been passed.
Well, can it come back, and how soon?
Well, we're working on it right now. I mean, we're still negotiating. We'll find some other way to get it back to the floor. We've got to get it past the House as well. So we're still working on it, Bill.
Senator, thank you for your time. Come on back. Senator Perdue
Thanks,
from
guys.
Georgia. There on
Thank
the
you,
Hill.
Senator.
Thank you.